2026. Before we start, we're going to approve the agenda. Si quelqu'un pourrait proposer l'ouverture de la séance.
Je propose.
Je seconde, Monsieur le maire.
Merci. Avant qu'on commence avec le processus d'approbation, j'aimerais juste prendre un moment pour remercier Monsieur Todoran, qui est avec nous, notre directeur de finances, pour le travail lui et son équipe a fait pour préparer le plan triennal 2024-2026. Pas un dossier facile. On a eu des discussions pour au-dessus de les 8 dernières semaines. Je vous remercie beaucoup pour l'effort qui a été fait. Mais aussi, j'ai à saluer toute l'administration, les directeurs, les employés qui ont participé dans ce processus qui a commencé en octobre et se finalise aujourd'hui. So, merci à tous les employés de la ville et les directeurs. Monsieur Rouleau aussi, merci pour tout l'effort. Et on n'aurait pas pu le faire sans le conseil. C'est un gros dossier, on le fait une fois par année. Donc, je pense qu'on a eu des très bonnes discussions pendant les 2 derniers mois et j'ai hâte de présenter ça à tout le monde. So, just quickly in English, this is a one-time event per year. I just thanked all of the employees, the directors, the DG, the administration, and the counselors for their work in the last 2 months to get this 3-year plan, investment plan, documented. Normally we do this in December. This year we're doing it in November, which is an exceptional year. Next year we plan to go back to December. That being said, this will be a session that really has a vote on the plan that we have in front of us. So this document will be available on our website tomorrow. It'll be available for the public to look at and ask questions and reflect on. And we'll also, following the vote, we're also going to have a quick question period. And we have at least one question coming from someone who's at home. Donc, on va procéder au 2.1. Programme de triennal d'immobilisation, exercice 2024, 2025, 2026. Est-ce que j'ai
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, qu'on adopte le programme triennal d'immobilisation, exercice 2024, 2025, 2026, tel que décrit à l'état des dépenses par projet daté du 13 novembre 2023 et comportant une dépense d'immobilisation égale à 50 957 050 $ pour 2024.
J'appuie.
Est-ce que tout le monde supporte? Merci. Bon, merci tout le monde. On va aller à la période de questions. Je vais commencer avec une question qui vient de Mme Cournoyer. Elle a préparé 3 questions. Question 1. Program for capital expenditures. What capital expenditures are planned for 12 Dahlia over the next 3 years? Mrs. Cornway, the answer to that question is that there is $300,000 allocated for repairs to the structure, both structures, the Maison Patrimoine and the annex. That's budgeted for 2024. There's nothing budgeted for 2025 and 2026 at this point in time. Without any final conclusion to the engineer's report on the annex, it would be premature to assign any kind of monetary value to something that just has not been concluded yet. So once we have more information, then we'll be able to take a decision next year. What I'd like to just maybe take a moment to say is that the triannual plan is different than a budget. It is a list of infrastructure work that we would like to complete within the city. And it's not unusual that the whole list does not get done in any particular year that it's mentioned in. It's different than our budget. Our budget, where we have very specifics, we must maintain our budgets. We can't go over our budgets, and we try very hard to work within the confines of this budget. The PTE is somewhere where, if the council changes their direction on a project, and then they just have the option of not doing it. And if something comes up at the last minute that's very urgent, council also has the flexibility to bring it to the table for a vote. At the end of the day, any work that is done in regards to the 3-year plan comes here to council anyways. So I just wanted to point that out. Not everyone understands that. Question 2 from Madame Cournoyer. What capital expenditures are planned to support culture over the next 3 years? And what is planned for sports? In regards to culture, Mrs. Cournoyer specifically, there's about $2.8 million that has been allocated. There'll be a lot of investment this year in the Gardener's House, which is at the end of Pine Beach Park, which is part of the... It's an outbuilding from the Forest and Stream Club, and we're moving to the next phase of restoring the building, which will be considered a historical building at the provincial level once the work is completed. We also have a small amount of $75,000 for the library, and we have $220,000 for the museum. In regards to sports, we have about $12.1 million in new investment for 2024 and to 2026. I'll go through some of the big lines. You're free to go through it tomorrow. Ballantine Pool, it's $6.6 million. It's already been announced. St. Charles Park, we've pared down phase 2 to $1.5 million. It's already been announced. The skate park, 1.5, it's already been announced. Refrigerated covered rink is 8.2. It's already been announced. What is new is a line item for a gymnasium at Surrey. If you remember well, council recently approved a study on a feasibility study for a gymnasium at Surrey, and that is budgeted for 2020. Some expenses in 2024, but 25 and 2026. This is a project that also hopefully qualifies for provincial funding. So that'll be very interesting. Already announced Park Neptune renovations. Every year we have money for the maintenance and repairs of park equipment that gets damaged. This is a yearly recurring line item. And we have for 2024, one small park renovation at $1 million, 2025, $1.2 million. And we also have $1.5 million for our infrastructure, sports, leisure, and culture. We discussed the museum, but there's our arenas, there's the Surrey Centre, Saint Salto des Noyers, also as well. So I hope that explains the big line items that we have in there. Again, it is possible that some of these initiatives do not go further than the document itself. Your third question is what capital expenditures are planned for the support of affordable housing over the next 3 years. Mrs. Cournoyer, right now, we don't have anything in the budget and it's, sorry, not the budget, the triannual plan for developers, for development of social housing. The city is not a builder of social housing per se. As you know, we are working with developers to provide units that fall under the HLM and PSL program that fall under the CMM. These are programs that are there to secure rent, I guess you could say rent control, or it provides an amount that covers part of your rent. We have had discussions, very brief discussions with the CMM on the HLM, which is Habitation de Loyer Modique, PSL, which is Programme de Supplément de Loyer. I think that more clearly explains it. We're also working with Programme Plancher, which is an organisme. It's called l'organisme de centre de transformation de logement communautaire. We approved that we approved being part of that group that is establishing itself in Quebec, which falls under the CMHC or the SCHLM. We're also, as you know, working on the Betty Russell property with the FAC PHAQ project that's also in coordination with the CMM, and that's the Betty Russell seniors residence that we're looking into. We also have Donalda Boyer that the city supports with volunteers and with a little bit of funding. We also have in Dorval Résidence Jules Daigle. I've discussed Betty Russell, and we're also working with the CMM to possibly develop a new FAC project. I won't discuss what those would be at this time, but my point here is that it's the reason that the fact that we don't have any money in the triannual plan at this time, we're not quite at the point where we are needing to provide any money. What I'm saying here is that we're talking to developers, we're talking to the CMM, we're looking for all kinds of ways to find dollars that can come to Dorval to support low-income housing or social housing. And should we ever have an opportunity that develops, then council will make a decision as to how to proceed, irregardless of what the plan triennal states. And that's why I explained at the beginning that this is a flexible document. Items will sometimes get done, sometimes not get done, and we can add expenses at any time during the year. So hopefully that answers all your questions, Mrs. Conroy. Thank you. In the room, do we have anyone who wants to ask any questions? Please identify yourselves with your name and address, please.
I have two questions. One regarding the...
One moment, we're having a microphone problem.
I have two questions. One's regarding the project in Dorval Village, Lakeshore. I believe you have already budgeted the amount, $26 million on this fiscal year. I don't see anything in the 24, 25, 26. So my question is...
What project would
the redoing of the Lakeshore in the village.
The road.
So my question is basically, could you tell us what the vision for this investment is and the timeline of this investment period for the rebuilding of Lakeshore? We do know that the commercial sector in Dorval has been suffering for at least 10, 12 years. When I was a young person growing up in Dorval, we had a theater on Dorval Avenue, United. We had a great restaurant that people are still looking for when they come back to Montreal, Dorval, IE. And we had a hardware store, which is amazing. We had two of them. Now, we don't have any of these items that were making Dorval a great place to live. I'm just wondering, when this is being redone, again, what is the budget, the timeline? Could we have some incentive zoning to support the merchants of Dorval to be successful in Dorval? Because when I go to Point Claire during the week, like I did last week, during the week, there's movement at night. There was even the ice rink that was open last Wednesday. There was a lot of life and movement. The merchants are successful in Point Claire. Could we maybe reproduce something somewhere else to make a successful merchant area in Dorval Village? That's question number one. And number two, again,
Okay,
affordable housing.
can I answer that question? Yeah, okay. I don't know when Dorval didn't stop becoming a great place to live, by the way. I think it's just the wording, but for me, it's a great place to live. And I see the amount of people that are in the village in the last few months, especially since the opening of St. Charles Park. You know, when the merchants complain that there's not enough parking, that's telling me that people are coming down into the village to enjoy all the businesses there. But specifically to your question, we do have $2 million to continue the studies to complete the project, which was, for those who may not be aware, to bury the hydroelectrical wires and all the utility wires from St. Charles all the way out to Dorval Avenue. That project is going forward. It's restarted. It takes time. COVID kind of put a halt to that project. The project was estimated at about $14-15 million pre-COVID, and now council needs to have better information as to what the overall cost of that project will be. We're still committed to it. Could it be downscaled a little bit? Possibly, but right now we're going forward with it, with construction probably starting in 2025, late 2025, or most likely 2026.
Again, will there be any incentives for merchants to reestablish in Dorval to make Dorval a greater place than it is now? There is some hardship on Dorval Avenue, and Lakeshore merchants are not doing that great. It's been an ongoing thing. I was a member of Main Street Dorval, and those discussions on this before pre-COVID. Is there any more investment, like Main Street could restart to have a merchant dialogue in Dorval to support the businesses? They're going for a hard time.
Mr.
pre-COVID and
Mamoni,
after COVID.
Dorval Main Streets is running. It's up and alive. Monsieur Lesage meets with them on a regular basis. What's their membership right now, Monsieur Lesage, approximately?
I'm saying over 50.
Merchants?
And
How many new businesses have set up in Dorval last 24 months?
offhand, I don't know.
I don't have that information in front of me, but I can tell you that the city continues to support them with a budget so that they can work on issues that are specific to their businesses. And it's been a challenge. COVID has changed how businesses do business. We provide a funding model that helps them do their activities. They also do collect a membership fees. And as far as I'm hearing, is that things are going very well.
Is the tax rate going to go up for them? I guess a new budget will be released soon. We will find out. If the
We'll
tax rate
discuss
goes up.
budget next month.
Okay.
I can't tell you. We haven't finalized the budget.
Again, I'm disappointed there's no money put aside for affordable investments in Dorval. It's not like the budget doesn't have room in the budget to help developers invest in Dorval in affordable housing and tax breaks or some other incentives.
Is there a question in that?
Yes, there is. How come there's nothing in the budget for, you mentioned why, because you already have Donald Boyer and you have other things in the pipeline, but the pipeline ain't coming due. There's nothing that's been built last little while, affordable housing in Dorval. Donald Boyer goes to 206. So I don't know, something missing there, a vision. And the other thing, the environment.
Mr. Mamoni, we're just not going to
No,
toss
that's all right.
comments out like
and
that.
And then the
No,
environment.
hold on, Mr.
Is there a budget?
No, can I answer
Yeah,
your
yeah.
point? And just to say, well, I don't know what you guys you're doing, you're not doing anything. That's completely false. The DG, myself, the urban planning department speak to developers on a regular basis, me less than they do. The message that we're giving to them is that there must be a portion of low income or social housing included. Some contractors, some developers have a hard time with that. Look, this is not unique to Dorval. This is Montreal.
It's a common problem.
It's a common problem.
Yes,
But
agree
I
with
know that we have talked to people who are open to the different types of programs that are out there, and in due time, when we have something concrete to announce, we will do so. But I want everyone at home to understand that we understand that social housing is a priority for the community. We are working hard at it. To put an amount in the budget doesn't move any project forward. We have to have discussions with with the developers and make them understand that there's a social need and that they need to be, if they're going to be in Dorval, they need to participate in that side of the equation. It can't be all high-end luxury rentals. We also need some for regular folks to live at home. We understand that.
Okay, tomorrow you'll get some help from the federal government, and we hope that Dorval will review the policies that are being put in place that will give billions of dollars, and I hope Dorval's team could benefit from these policies that are coming in effect tomorrow.
Okay.
The last question is for the environment.
So we're here to discuss the PTE.
Yeah,
This is not the meeting.
The
So
environment, how much money was put aside for 3 years for the environment, like making Dorval greater again
well,
and green?
Mr. Mamoni, you make me chuckle.
Like a net
Environment
zero
Commission
items.
for there's
Some electric cars in there.
in environment parks and green spaces. There's $1.4 million in vehicles. I can't add them all up, but I'm sure there's $300,000-$500,000 for electric vehicles.
How about
maybe
making
more.
homes more efficient, like aerators for water, equipment to make homes more, save Dorval residents some money in their pocket, energy efficiency? Is there anything planned for that next 3 years?
Not from the city of Dorval. If there's programs that need to be developed, the council will reflect on that. We leave that to the provincial government, Hydro-Quebec, and people like that to offer programs.
Okay, so you rely on other parties to do it. How about radon? I never heard.
Okay,
anything
Mr.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll come back at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Excuse me, Mr. Nizola, I believe that you are aware of the email that you received, and you had to submit questions, and we're not at the public meeting yet. We're at the first meeting, which is the triannual program.
That email that you sent me, which I read Sunday morning, so it was already past the Friday afternoon deadline. Did it say anything about this meeting?
It's all meetings, Mr. Nizola, and I have it right here. And you need to comply with the email, with the letter that was sent to you. I'm going to ask you politely to sit down. You did not pre-send in your questions for this meeting. So I have two choices. I'm going to ask you politely to sit down and respect the letter you've had, or I will have the gentleman at the back escort you out of the building.
Just a second.
No, there's no discussion, Mr. Nizola.
I only read the email.
Mr. Nizola?
On Sunday morning, and I sent in my questions Sunday afternoon.
Can you? We're going to take a recess for a moment, please, at home. I apologize for that for everyone at home. If we have no further questions in the audience, then I would think that the meeting is to conclude. À ce point-ci, il n'y a pas d'autres questions dans l'Assemblée, donc est-ce qu'on propose la clôture de cette réunion?
Je propose, Monsieur le maire, que la séance soit en elle-même levée.
J'appuie.
Merci tout le monde. On revient à 7 heures.